Yeah, thank you so much for being on, and thank you for the honor of letting me interview you real quick for this.
Oh,
Um,
no problem, man.
it's great. So, I first came across you by your Defending the Last Jedi video.
Mm-hmm.
And that was really funny, cleverly edited. It was fantastic. Um,
Well, thanks.
and you made some great points that even I've thought of that it seems like nobody else thought of. And it
Mm.
seems like with my analysis video I'm kind of looking at the history of the franchise and how the fandom has evolved, because
Mm.
it seems like we're dealing with different generations. We have older folk who like the originals, some younger folk
Mm.
who like the prequels, and now a mix with the sequels. So obviously we're going to get people who don't like the films, but to me it seems a little disheartening with death threats and hate messages and
Yeah,
everything.
it really is immature.
How did you get started with Star Wars? Like, when did you first come across Star Wars?
Oh, well, it's a very weird history of mine. I first saw Star Wars when I was like 4.
Okay.
Actually, I was like 2 years old. Actually, I was 2. Never mind. I barely remember what I saw. So, and it was the 1977 edition on VHS of the movies, the originals, with
Mm-hmm.
and it's the ones where that they had the even worse edited Jabba in there.
Yeah.
So like I'm glad I didn't remember that one. So
Yeah.
then I what I remember the most about seeing those 3 movies was Empire, when Luke cut off Vader's head, and I'm like, wait, what? And then the mask opens up, and I think I remember going, huh? What? Is he?
Mm-hmm.
Wait, I do. What? I was like 2, so I had no idea that I was just aware of that. I was like,
Mm-hmm.
huh? So yeah,
Yeah.
I barely watched the original trilogy when I was a kid, but I came across the prequels, and I kind of got immersed in Star Wars after seeing that because it was something new to me. Like, it was like the effects looked good to me at the time. I liked the lightsaber fights. I had to say I might have liked Jar Jar. I
Mm-hmm.
don't know why. Uh, and and I don't remember the theater experience, of course, but I remember my theater experience going into Attack of the Clones, and I think my dad took me like 10 to 15 minutes in when when they're chasing down the bounty hunter in Coruscant. And I guess we just watched the whole film from there. And then I remember episode 3 really well because I'm like, yo, this is cool. This is Star Wars. This really feels like Star Wars to me. Like the lightsaber fights, the music, the effects, the callbacks. I'm like, oh yeah, that was from the other movies that I barely watched.
Yeah.
It was dark, and I was like horrified of everything that was happening. Like Mace Windu's death really got me. I was like, did they really just do that? Like what? How? And then we see freaking Anakin getting his legs get cut off and burning alive, and I'm like,
Yeah.
is this for real? What?
Yeah.
So
That.
then down the road, I started to notice how terrible the prequels were. All they do is walk around, sit and talk, and walk and talk, and occasionally, and they even talk while they're fighting. And I also looked back at the Yoda fight, and I realized it really downgrades Yoda's mystery, basically, about how, the way he presented himself and how he talks about, you don't need a fucking lightsaber, it's the Force, that's the powerful thing.
Yeah.
All you need, the Force is all you need, man. And then you see him whipping out a lightsaber and flipping all over the place like he's Master Shifu from Kung Fu Panda. And it's like, I don't know, you just kind of destroy what you made in that original movie. I'm just glad that he didn't go back and edited Puppet Yoda with CG Yoda, because that would have been insulting.
Yeah.
I don't like the fact that he had to make changes because it wasn't the way I wanted it to be when I made the originals. Like I was very limited. The technology was limited, so I decided to edit CG and terrible effects in there. Like I'm like, why? You didn't need to do that, man. Like there's even unnecessary edits, like changing Vader's lines when he's done battling Luke in Empire. In the original version, he's like, "Bring my shuttle," indicating that he's mad that he didn't get to bring back Luke. And then in the new version, he's like, "Alert the Star Destroyer to prepare for my arrival." I'm like, oh, holy shit, man! Why? It's a small thing, but like it's somewhat a big issue with me. I don't get why he did that.
No, I actually really understand, because the "Bring My Shuttle" sounded more menacing, badass, and like he was pissed. But
exactly,
the other one is just it feels weak.
It does.
Yeah.
And also, and don't get me wrong, I don't hold no ill will towards George Lucas himself. I'm sure he's a cool person, and I'm glad that he created Star Wars. But you know, he won't be the last person to go back to a series and make a prequel series and fuck everything up. For example, Fantastic Beasts had the worst sequel to a prequel movie I've ever seen in my life. Like, it started out promising with the first one, and then the second one just went off the rails with all the freaking, what's it called? Like, diverse casting of original characters. Like, for example, the snake from the original Harry Potter movies used to be an Asian woman. Like, she did that shit just to be like, hey, why not? I don't know.
So you would disagree with my wife because she loved it.
I think I might need to have a podcast with her. That's for sure. She'd probably be like,
it.
"No, it's great."
No, dude. I actually asked her. I was like, "So all the bad reviews, what'd you think?" She goes, "I loved it. I was invigorated the entire time."
It was boring.
I'm like, okay.
I was near falling asleep. I nearly fell asleep, man. Like, I'm like, dude, do some freaking magic already. I mean, they do, but it's like few and far between, and like, I'm getting ahead of myself. I'm supposed to be talking about Star Wars. Holy shit. So, back to what I was saying. Yeah, George Lucas won't be the last person to do that. J.K. Rowling did it. Ridley Scott did it with Alien Covenant, in my opinion. Peter Jackson didn't really do anything bad. I think it was studio interference that messed up the third Hobbit movie, but that's about it. I like the Hobbit movies better than the Star Wars prequels.
Yeah.
So yeah, after the Star Wars prequels, I recently heard that Disney bought Star Wars, and I'm like, this could be either really good or really bad.
Oh, really?
But I mean, you never know, because I feel like they might make this Disneyfy it, if you know what I'm saying. Like, make it a baby Star Wars. Like, you know, kind of like what they did to Rebels.
Yeah.
That was kind of like a Disney thing. It wasn't really Star Wars, like a Disney Star Wars. It felt like Disney Star Wars. So then I saw Force Awakens, and I'm like, dude, where has this been all these years, man?
Yeah.
J.J. Abrams knocked it out of the park, man. I like the visuals, I like the music, I like the effects, I like the characters, I like the story, I like the fact that they came back, and everyone's all like, "They should have been reunited. It's not good. It sucks. It's shit now because they weren't all together." And I'm like, I think it's a very it's kind of a tragic thing to have them die this way. It's like a separate thing. They never got to reunite like everyone wanted, but it's kind of like sad in the sense that it's like, you know what I'm trying to say?
Well, that kind of leads into the expectations of, like, you know, everyone was expecting a reunion, but I wasn't. I never expected a reunion. I was just excited to see a new Star Wars film.
Yeah, it's like based on what's been happening in that era, it just you'd expect something like that to be a reality, like them being separated and them being at odds with each other and stuff. And that brings me to The Last Jedi, of course. I loved the ever-loving shit out of it. I thought it took bold risks. A lot of people didn't like the fact that they killed off Snoke. I'm like, dude, we don't need another Emperor, alright?
Did you like Last Jedi better than Force Awakens?
Yeah, I did.
Really?
I mean, I still love Force Awakens, but Last Jedi really changed the game, in my opinion.
Oh, okay.
Like, because when I saw Force Awakens, I knew they were gonna play it safe. I knew. Like, I even had a scenario planned in my head. I was like, Finn has a lightsaber and he has a Force, so he's gonna be trained under Luke, and then it's gonna be Episode 7 again, and then Luke's gonna be Obi-Wan, and then it's gonna be the same. It's gonna be slightly different, but then no, Han Solo was the mentor character that dies. Rey turned out to be the Jedi, and Luke was missing, and I'm like, oh, okay, he's missing. I didn't expect that. That took me aback a bit. Yeah. And the only problem I'd say that I had with Episode 7 was the fact that they had to put another Death Star in there, Starkiller Base. Like, I liked how massive it was, I liked the firepower, but it's essentially Death Star 3, come on.
Pretty much, yeah.
It was. But it was cool to see more than one planet get destroyed. I'm like, oh, it's sad, but it looked cool.
What do you think about... Because this is really... It's really discouraging to me to see the fans so split. Do you think that there's a way that the fans can come back together?
Oh, it's gonna take a lot more to bring them all back together in unity. Okay. I mean, episode 9 is gonna have to probably do that, because I hear they're bringing all elements of all the movies together. Each series. So I'm like, maybe that'll be a turn for the better for every Star Wars fan out there. But then again, you never know. They'll probably be like, Episode 9 was Return of the Jedi all over again. Oh my! Like, nothing ever satisfies you, man. Just enjoy the damn thing. What bothers me the most is that movies like Jurassic World, Venom, Alien Covenant kind of dropped its box office records at some point, and it's like, oh my, right, really? Okay. But it's like, all these movies are not really getting criticized by their fans enough, because a lot of people who like Jurassic World, all the fans are like, it was a good movie, it was great. Like, no, it was dumb. It was and it takes place in a franchise that with a movie, the first movie, that was intellectual and made sense and was realistic, and then it turned to a dumbass monster movie. Like, you can't tell me that it's in any way good now. It's just dumb. Yeah. It's just ridiculous that, like, these franchises are getting passes while this movie is getting so much shit. I don't get it. Like, I don't understand why they can't see that what they've done with Luke was great. Like, it was very realistic. Like, he has been through a lot of shit, you know? It's not going to be that simple to bring him back. And based on what they've shown us, the shit, he basically caused Galaxy War 3. It's just like, you can't get back from that. I mean, it might be hard, but you can't get back from that easily. Like, he can. Like, he's not like he's not the most powerful Jedi out there. I mean, he is, because he's the only one alive next to Rey now. Actually, he's gone, but, you know, he'll come back as a Force Ghost in the next one. I don't know why people are so, no, he's dead! Fuck this movie! You're gonna see him as a Force Ghost, man. It's gonna happen. Like, I know. I'm like, everyone thinks that now that they announced that he'll return in the next one, he's gonna come back from the dead. And now I can see people are like, oh my god, no, we don't want to see him as a ghost. We want to see him back alive, you Disney fucks. I'm like, what the hell is wrong with you people, man? Like,
don't you think that this can... It's like what you were saying with expectations. Calm your expectations, people.
Yes, calm them down. Like, don't over-exaggerate theories or depend on theories to make your movie, you know? Like, they were stretching when they said Snoke was Darth Plagueis or Darth Sidious. And also stretching that Rey could be a Kenobi. And I'm like, okay, really? Oh, you know what's the dumbest thing I've heard a while ago?
What's that?
People actually think that Rey is the daughter of Han and Kira.
What?
It's been told to us that Rey was born years after the Battle of Endor.
Oh my gosh.
It's like, dude, just give it up. Like, you're not gonna find her parents that easily. If anything, they're just gonna be original parents. If anything, hopefully.
Yeah.
Either that, or they'll just retcon it with making her related to somebody. Because all these other movies, like Creed, he has to be related to his dad. You know, we have freaking Pirates of the Caribbean 5, where we have Will Turner Jr. and the daughter of Barbossa. I'm like, okay, if that's the only way to make us give a shit about them, then good on you. I mean, Creed was different because, you know, that's a different scenario. Like it had everybody, because it built around his name, and I'm like, oh, he has a son, okay. But they just dropped it. I'm like, okay, Barbossa has a daughter, and he's like, bye, daughter, and then he dies, and that's the last time he sees her. I'm like, wow, okay, whatever. Fantastic Beasts overloads us with freaking new characters related to older characters. Like, we have this.
Which one? The first Fantastic Beasts?
There wasn't that much in the first one, but the second one had like Lita Lestrange. They tried to throw us for a loop by thinking that Ezra Miller's character was related to her and the Lestrange family, but he wasn't. And then it turns out he's a Dumbledore when we never heard of him before. And I'm like, no, that's bullshit. You can't do that. It's like, all these movies do is just make them related to the original characters so we can give a shit. I think Rose is a better character than Lita Lestrange is in Fantastic Beasts, because Rose was an original character. She wasn't related to anybody. Mm-hmm. Then again, why would she be? You know what I mean? But then we have Lita Lestrange being related to Lestrange, like the most notorious evil family in the entire series, right? And like she has I don't know, it just goes off the rails.
Speaking of stupid things we've heard lately, the one thing that's always gotten me is people are mad that Snoke died, right? People are mad that the Knights of Ren aren't in the movie.
Oh, yeah. And Rian Johnson even said that if he put them in a movie, he'd probably kill them off. So he's like, yeah, and I'm not going to do that because I know that'll piss them off.
This is the second movie in a trilogy. This is the second movie in a trilogy.
Exactly.
A freaking trilogy. There's a second one in a trilogy. Stop whining about the middle chapter. Wait till the trilogy is over and then judge it as a whole. Don't get pissed about Snoke. You're gonna find out more answers in the third freaking movie, guys.
Yeah, he might come back for all we know. We don't know. They'll probably fulfill your wishes by bringing him back because you're like, oh, he's not dead. He's gonna come back in the third one. And
Sorry,
if he doesn't,
I got pissed there. I just that really bothers me when people really get on that point. This is a trilogy. All right, I don't understand it.
I don't understand either. Like, the minute Kylo Ren killed Snoke and he took charge, I'm like, yes, this is something different. This is something new. This is something we've never seen before. An adolescent Sith in training taking over the First Order. He's gonna take. I'm just curious to know what someone in his position is gonna do, because he's fucking mad. He's freaking full of anger inside right now after everything that's happened.
You know, that's another point that another problem people had with The Force Awakens is that he was kind of like a whiny brat, but I actually liked that because it showed a conflicted character. Like, it wasn't just a mustache.
That's what I'm saying. Exactly.
Yeah.
It works in favor of his character, like I said in the video. It really works. Like, I didn't expect him to be a fucking Vader 2.0. Otherwise, everyone would be calling shit on this movie for that. So you can go both. You can go either way, and then everyone will still be pissed. Like, you can either make him like Darth Vader or not Darth Vader at all. It's just, what the fuck, man? Like, it's just like, it's just dumb, man. Like, and people are okay with Hayden Christensen's acting. His whole, I don't like sand. It's coarse, rough, and irritating, and it gets everywhere. It gets everywhere. To the Kylo Ren, like, I like Kylo Ren all throughout the trilogy. Like, his conflict really
it's fantastic.
Shines in the span of these two movies. And I'm not a massive Reylo, or I'm not a Reylo at all. But like, what do you think? What do you think of Reylo, man?
No, personally, I think that's dumb. I don't want to see that.
Yeah, and it might have seemed that way, but it's not really it. I feel like they're just like two sides of the same coin. Just like they're just like very similar people in a way. Like, they both don't really have father or mother figures. Yeah. I mean, he does, but he doesn't see them as that because, you know, he's turned to the dark side. Like, they're both loners. And I'm like, oh, that's interesting. But everyone's like, oh, they're gonna fall in love with each other and rule side by side. Ugh, look at that thigh grab in the throne room scene. I'm like, oh, okay. I mean, that's definitely by accident, but
wait, that was on purpose. Thigh grab?
Yeah, like there's a certain move in when they're fighting back to back, the Praetorian guards.
Yeah.
And then she grabs her thigh, and then he pushes her back to help her kick get stronger when she kicks the guards.
Reylo confirmed, I guess.
The fangirls go crazy. But there's certain things that they say that doesn't really do much with Reylo, but kind of makes sense. And it kind of supports the scene, and I'm like, oh, okay. What do you think of Rose and Finn?
Rose, I really like as a character. I think
Same.
she's sweet and cute and funny, and I really think the hate towards her, especially on Instagram, is quite disgusting.
It was, man. It's, I do not, for the life of me, see anything wrong with her character at all. Nothing. Like, not a single fucking thing. I don't see, especially when they kept on talking shit about the fact that she basically doomed the Resistance because she stopped Finn from making the sacrifice, which would have not done anything. Like, that freaking piece of shit wasn't gonna destroy the fucking cannon, man.
Yeah.
Like, in the condition it's in, you have to think about this. Like, the condition that it was in, it wasn't gonna do much damage. If anything, if there was a health bar, it would go from 100% to 80%. That's all it would do.
Yeah.
And the only one that would die is Finn, and that would have sucked.
Now
and I'm glad they didn't pull.
What I will say is, in the haters' defense, I something about that line, we're not gonna win by fighting what we hate but saving what we love. Part of me just didn't jive with that line. Maybe it was delivered strangely, but I was just like, what? Like, it just didn't sit well with me. And then there was the kiss that they had. So I wasn't a fan of that line, but I understand what she means. I guess it was the delivery. It's the same with the Leia scene. There was almost too much sugar on that Leia scene with her quote-unquote flying. It's like...
Or quote-unquote Mary Poppins.
I mean, I accept it, but it looked odd. Just the way it looked.
Did. At first, I was like, oh, what is she doing? And I'm like, oh. And then I saw it again. I'm like, okay, she's pulling herself towards the freaking ship. She's not flying. She's not singing. She's not singing freaking a spoonful of sugar gets the medicine or something. I forgot the lyrics. But no, man. Like, why? It's just stupid, man.
So do you think that it's a? I hope it's true, but do you think that it's a vocal minority of the people who hate this? Because if I look at any videos regarding The Last Jedi, people are just hating on the film like crazy, and there's a lot of upvotes on those comments. Do you think there really is a lot of people who hate this movie, or do you think it's more of a vocal minority who just congregate towards YouTube comment sections?
I mean, I'm considering the fact that most of the YouTubers I've seen haven't completely shat on it or thought it was a good movie. Like Chris Stuckman thought it was a really good movie. Jeremy Jans thought it was an okay movie, even though he had issues with it.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't think Angry Joe... I saw Angry Joe's video, and I'm like, dude, I don't understand... He basically encapsulates all those angry fans out there that were like, we wanted to see this, we wanted to see that, and considering the fact that he had a fucking video dedicated to making fan theories, and I'm like, yeah, this is what's gonna happen probably, but no, that didn't happen, and it sucked. It's like,
yeah.
But like all those other YouTubers, like, it may be either or, because I'm not sure. I don't know. It's hard. It's really tough to digest this whole thing because, you know, it could be that it's a vocal minority, or it could be that it's a lot of the Star Wars fans that are pissed off. But you see a few defenders out there. Or maybe it's just... Maybe it could be YouTubers trying to cash in on the fact that they think Last Jedi sucks. You know? It's like, hey, I can shit on The Last Jedi now and make revenue off of that. Not that that's the case with every single YouTuber out there. I'm just saying there might be a few, you know?
I'm just... There's something about this whole thing... I guess I'm trying to look for something that's impossible in the sense of... I'm trying to find, like, a correlation between, like... Are there any statistics or numbers out there that can... shed some light on this, because this whole thing feels so weird to me, because the Star Wars fan base is the most toxic fan base I've ever seen.
It is. It's like, I don't know how we got to this point, you know? Even back then, when the prequels came out, they were bashed, and for good reason, but still, you didn't need to freaking make a vitriolic documentary. I mean, that was a bit much.
Are you talking about the people versus George Lucas?
Yeah, that was a bit much. Like, you didn't need to make a whole documentary about that shit.
It's like, jeez, you guys.
I mean, it's not... I mean, I get it if it was the people versus Zack Snyder in DC and shit like that, you know? Because DC is in the shitter right now. That definitely deserves a lot of fucking criticism, because it really is shit. DC shit. They don't know what the fuck they're doing. They're cashing in on Marvel's success, and it's pretty evident that they can't make competent movies anymore. Maybe one every now and then they can, like Wonder Woman, but, you know, one can only hope for Aquaman's success, you know, in terms of critical.
Yeah.
But it's like, I really find this weird myself. Like, I can't...
I guess that's why we're making these videos, dude, is because it's like we're trying to understand, we're trying to figure out what is going on, why these people are so angry, and I understand it's Star Wars. Like, Star Wars is near and dear to many people's hearts, but if you don't like a movie, just move on. Just move on with your life.
Yeah, just don't waste your time. Like, there's no point of doing what you're doing, like writing hateful comments and like making shit tons of videos. Just like leave it.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of shit movies that deserve criticism, definitely.
Yeah.
But I don't see this movie as a terrible movie. Like, I really don't. I don't get what the big deal is. Like, every time I see it, nothing changes my opinion at all. Like, nothing at all.
Yeah.
I either go, no, that's not what happened, or whatever. You know what I'm saying? It really bothers me to this day. Like, and they continue to bother me as long as the fans keep on going at this.
I love that. That is the best.
Yes, it just they try to make themselves like the true fans would hate this movie. And I'm like, no. And it really bothers me the most that I see a movie like Venom having an audience score of 82%.
Oh, wow.
And then Last Jedi audience score is like a 45 currently.
82?
For Venom, yeah.
Whoa.
I'm like, bullshit, man. No, there's no way they can buy into this piece of garbage. Like, I saw it, and I thought it was garbage. It was terrible. It was a bad movie. It felt too compressed and edited. It just annoyed the ever-loving shit out of me. And they fucked up Eddie Brock. They fucked up everything else. Venom was fine, but everything else was terrible. This movie, I feel like you honestly can't come to me and say Star Wars The Last Jedi is the worst movie I've ever seen ever, like, of all time.
No way.
You can't
No,
come to me
absolutely
and say that with a
not.
straight face. Like, if you have issues, fine. Like, I agree. I had some issues with it too, like Phasma and freaking Maz Kanata being there for like 2 seconds, you know?
Yeah.
Stuff like that, like something. But these issues that I have, that people have with the movie, like, I don't see. Like, I don't get. I just can't stress enough. I don't get it.
Well, I guess one of my big things that I'm trying to understand is they're taking criticisms of this movie that can be easily refuted and easily they're just debunked, and they're not listening, and they're continually getting more and more pissed. Like one of the criticisms that has always bugged me is how Rey was able to beat Kylo in The Force Awakens. It's very, very obvious, guys. She has the Force. Kylo had a freaking hole blasted into his chest by Chewie. He just murdered his father, so he's a little emotionally tore up right now. I'm not sure if you would be that way, but I sure would be. And Finn fought him, and Finn actually got hit on his shoulder, so he's hurt several times. He's tired, and then he wasn't trying to kill Rey. He said, "You need a teacher. I can show you the ways of the Force." He wasn't trying to kill Rey. So once she tapped into the Force and she got the edge, she was able to beat him. It's not that
He's like, oh shit.
hard. Yeah, it's really very. It's clearly shown to the audience, but they're ignoring it and just saying she's a Mary Sue.
Okay. Here's my argument against that. Unless she's zapping thunder unless she's zapping lightning out of her hands like Thor, or throwing a Star Destroyer onto the ground with her bare Force hands, destroying a Death Star on her own, using the Force to throw multiple freaking balconies in the council room, shit like that. Unless she did that on her first try, shut the fuck up.
Yeah, exactly.
Honestly, like, you cannot be seriously saying that she's overpowered when so many other people are as overpowered as you think she is. Starkiller is the very definition of overpowered as well.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
he managed to beat Vader, even though he trained him. I mean, sure. But it's like, it's crazy how he was able to beat him that easily. I mean, sure, it took a while, but, you know, he eventually beat him.
Well, if you also look, I think you addressed this in your video actually, and I actually thought of this point for a while. Everyone's, including Jeremy Johns, which I feel really bad for him. I wish he appreciated this movie more, but everyone is mad that Luke had a fleeting thought about killing his nephew. But it's like when Vader told Luke, "I will turn your sister to the dark side," Luke snapped and spent... He
went ballistic.
I counted it. 1 minute and 40 seconds. He spent 1 minute and 40 seconds going ballistic on Vader. He cut his arm off. He was about to kill Vader. He was about to kill his own father. Because, guess what, people? He's not a golden boy. He's a human being with emotions and conflict. And he is trying to understand all this stuff just like Rey is. Of course he would have a fleeting thought about killing this guy who would bring the death of the universe.
It was like a PTSD moment, basically.
Yeah.
It just popped. I mean, he was strong enough to snap out of it in time, but not exactly in time, you know what I mean?
Well,
it was unfortunate.
Is Luke also a Mary Sue because within a few days of knowing the Force, he was able to blast 2 photon torpedoes at 40,000 miles an hour, 90 degrees down the shaft, and blow up the Death Star? Is he also a Mary? Is he a Mary Sue? God.
No. Or probably by everyone else's logic.
They're holding Rey, and this is what I'm addressing in my video, is they're holding Rey to a higher standard than Luke. They are. Think about it, dude. They're holding Rey.
Yeah, I know.
to a higher standard than Luke Skywalker. I don't get it. And also, to address my next question to you, what do you think about the SJW stuff?
Oh boy, this is gonna be fun. Okay. Basically, people think that just because the movie has diverse characters or slightly more females than usual doing cool stuff, like, you have to remember what the male cast have done throughout this entire trilogy so far. Mm-hmm. Poe, right? He blew up Starkiller Base, of course with help, but he blew it up. He went inside the fucking thing, and he launched the torpedoes onto the in each corner of that weak spot, right? He blew it up.
Mm-hmm.
He got promoted. And of course he fucked it up in Last Jedi, sure, but you know, it just shows that he has flaws. Like, he's a flyboy. He's like, basically, he's reckless. He's basically reckless. Like, and Holdo wasn't wrong. Like, you know, like,
yeah.
And like, have you ever seen the movie Crimson Tide?
You know, I actually have not.
Oh my god.
I should.
I mean, there's like this rivalry between two captains arguing over to launch nuclear launch codes or something.
Okay.
They have a conflict throughout the movie, and it's kind of how I saw Holdo and Poe. They're each arguing like who's in the right, like the plan, and Poe just doing it the easy way, or the complicated way, just having them go to the fucking Snoke ship and all that, while Holdo's just evacuating everybody to just play it safe.
Yeah.
Everyone just thought of it as female over male dominance, which is just stupid. Just because she's a female, they just jumped the gun and are like, oh my god, she's just shitting on Poe because he's a male and she's a female. And I'm like, no. Like, Are you kidding me? Are you fucking kidding me?
Yeah. Now,
like, the only Mary Sue that I know of could be fucking Sabine from Rebels, because all the shit she went through is not something a 16-year-old would go through.
Yeah.
Like, I saw this video on Why the Rebels Suck, and like, it's like they discuss about how Mary Sue Sabine is, and they look and it's. I don't know, like, I don't get the whole SJW stuff. It's just stupid. And just because a female is the president of Lucasfilm now, they just jumped the gun too. She's only doing it they hold it like, Force is female, like, they're making Star Wars for female characters now. Like, no, she's making it for everyone, including women now. Like, women didn't really have that much characters to idolize, you know? Like, all we had was Luke, Han, Boba Fett, Darth Vader, and all the females had was Leia at the time, you know? That's it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And maybe Padme once the prequels came out because she was cool, you know?
Yeah.
And that's it. I mean, sure, there were side characters, female side characters that were Jedi, but they weren't, like, essential to the plot.
Yeah.
Like, they weren't main characters, and then we got a balance of male and female characters in this movie.
Well, I think
like I was gonna say before, I was also Finn, right?
Yeah.
He went through a lot of shit, man. He faced a Sith and survived, or Sith in training and survived. He kicked his boss's ass, And he, like, come on, like, you can't call Finn a fucking wimp, and he did all that shit, man. He did all that.
I mean, about the SJW stuff, like, I've had people ask me about, like, the politics in Star Wars, and I am, like, in the real world, I'm pretty into politics, but I will say that in Star Wars, I'm not. Like, Star Wars is pure escapism for me. I don't even think about politics. I don't care. I just want to watch Star Wars. So to me, any agenda, right or left, SJW, not SJW, I literally just ignore it. Because I just want to watch Star Wars. And I think that what I will say is with Disney, I think if they want to win these fans' hearts back, they should maybe not be so on the nose with the SJW stuff, but again, for me, I don't care. If you want to push a liberal agenda or whatever, you know, it's fine by me, but just please keep it out of Star Wars. Do you see what I'm saying?
So you think there is SJW stuff in Star Wars?
No, I mean, when the people are pointing it out, it's like, I see what they're saying. I understand where they're coming from, but I also, if they're right, I choose to ignore it. But if they're wrong, then they're wrong. But I choose to, like you're saying, not notice an SJW message like they're saying. I'm just like, she's just a strong freaking woman. Why is that such a crime? Why?
Yeah, like there's this one YouTuber named The Amazing Lucas that had a huge problem with. He's like, what's with the female characters in this movie? What's with the strong, powerful women? What the fuck, man? And also, like, there are movies that hammer this shit in even worse, you know?
Oh, dude.
Freaking J.K. Rowling tries to be progressive as much as she can in order to be, like, you know?
Oh,
like,
dude,
she
she's...
made Dumbledore gay. She was all like, I didn't say Hermione wasn't black. Like, when I wrote the character, I didn't visualize her in any other in one race. She could be any race. She could be black. She could be Persian. She could be fucking Pakistani, and I wouldn't care. No, in the book, you described her as pale white. Like,
yeah,
like
it's
come
in your
on.
book.
And turning Nagini, having Nagini have been an Asian woman in the past. I'm like, why? There's really no point to doing that.
Yeah.
Like, the diverse cast didn't bother me. It's just that they hammered it in. Like, they just, like... especially with the whole gay Dumbledore thing.
Yeah.
Out of nowhere, she was in a press conference like, yeah, Dumbledore's gay. Yep. And in the movie, it's a heavy plot point for some reason. Him, Dumbledore, and Grindelwald made a blood pact to never kill each other with magic because they were lovers. And I'm like... like, I don't care if your character's like I don't care if the character's gay or anything like that. Just don't make it a plot point in a movie. Like, just don't do that.
That's exactly what I'm saying. Is what you're saying
like
with Harry Potter.
It'd be like if Luke was an original lover to Snoke, and that's why they don't fight. Gosh. That's the equivalent of what would be a great example of shoving SJW stuff in there, like, just to be progressive. Like,
yeah.
The diverse cast in Star Wars didn't bother me. The diverse cast in Spider-Man Homecoming didn't bother me. The diversity in Fantastic Beasts didn't really bother me. But in Fantastic Beasts, they hammered that shit in. In Jurassic World, they made that one chick, an SJW character. She's all like, I'm gonna go help you guys out, and then this one guy's like, things could get hectic out there.
Mm-hmm.
And then she's like, I'm not as witless as your comment implies. Like, what did he imply? He didn't say anything regarding your gender or position. All he said was, hey, it could be dangerous, you know.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it's like that type of shit I can't stand. Like, in movies, like, I don't see that in Star Wars. Otherwise, I would have called it out. Yeah. I would have said something about that.
Mm-hmm. That's kind of my point. And I guess like one of my last questions is where do we go from here? Like kind of like what I asked you is, do you see the fan base uniting again? My question is, J.J. Abrams has a really big job ahead of him with Episode 9. Do you think that where do we go after this? Like what do you think the future holds for this franchise? Because it's either going to be people are going to be united again, or people are going to be just in two camps again and just divided. What do you think is going to happen?
It depends on how this film goes, you know, because it can go either way. It could, because based on what happened in Last Jedi, J.J. Abrams probably won't do Return of the Jedi again, basically, because, you know, they already did the Snoke death, so he can't do that again. Also, he probably won't make equivalent Ewok characters in there. I doubt he won't play it too safe, but maybe he might because of all the shit that Last Jedi got, so we can blame everyone else for that. So if there's a Return of the Jedi remake that comes out in December, it's your fault, guys.
Yeah. You know, I would have a problem with that. I would be like, all right, come on, JJ, you already did this with Force Awakens, but, you know, again, it would be their fault. It wasn't
a big issue, but, like, I could at least acknowledge that they did it, you know. It didn't bother me because I knew they were going to do it. So based on what they've said, they're going to combine the elements of all three eras together, all the movies. I'm sure that'll be a good thing.
It sounds cool to me.
Yeah. What do you think?
Yes, I think it. What other choice have we given JJ? What other choice have we given him? JJ is behind this movie, and he's like, well, damn, like, what am I supposed to do? Let's just throw everything together and see how it sticks, because all you people are never happy. I feel bad for him, honestly. It's just, I don't know.
To be fair, like, he did start the whole mystery box thing with Snoke and Rey's parents, though. Not saying that he's completely blamed, but he has a habit of doing that, and it kind of backfired once Rian Johnson was like, listen, we're not going to go that route. We're going to be different. We're going to take a risk here. All right, guys. It's just, and hopefully J.J. Abrams will take the mantle after everything, because what if J.J. Abrams directed Last Jedi? I always think about that, you know?
Well, that's what I was going to say, actually. Is I think if Disney was a little smarter, they should have had JJ do the entire series, the entire trilogy, because having a different director is not a bad thing, because if you look at episode 4, you know, Lucas did that, but Irvin Kershner directed The Empire Strikes Back. So having different directors is fine, but Rian Johnson is so, like he's more artsy, and he almost kind of did away with what JJ set up. So it's like, now you kind of have yourself in this bad place. So it's like, what do you do from here? So I really think that if I was Kennedy, I would have said, all right, JJ, you're going to do all three of them, and we'll have Ryan do his own trilogy like he's supposed to be doing. But, you know, it is what it is. What we got is JJ did the first one, which, as I said, is my favorite Star Wars movie. I have no shame in saying that. And Ryan did The Last Jedi, and which was still a really, really good movie. And I think that Abraham Lincoln comes to mind when he says, a house divided against itself cannot stand. And I think that that's the quote that I keep thinking of, because it's like, you guys, if we keep doing this, if we keep fighting and bitching and moaning about these films, eventually maybe they're just going to say, well, screw you, and they're just going to shut down. Probably not, because it's Disney and they want to make a lot of money, but it's not an impossibility. If all the fans hate these movies, why would they bother making more of them? Yeah,
and why would they bother? It really is annoying. Like, I guess I'll probably ask this question to you. Like, what do you think of the spin-offs and the future Star Wars films?
I'm excited. I love Star Wars. I've always loved Star Wars. Anything Star Wars, I'm pretty game for. So I obviously love the episodes, the Skywalker saga, but I'll be very happy with the spin-offs as long as they're good, because it's like, to me, more Star Wars is more opportunities for me to relive my childhood back when I saw Episode 4 when I was 5 years old.
Right.
And I'm just, honestly, I consistent Star Wars for me is a beautiful thing to me, because when Revenge of the Sith was done in 2005, I was like, all right, that's it, no more Star Wars, we're done. And then in 2012, when they were making more of them, I was absolutely ecstatic, over the moon. I remember going down to the kitchen the night it was released, dude, and I'm like, hey, Dad, they just announced they're doing more Star Wars. And me and my dad spent an hour in the kitchen saying, what if Tom Cruise is in the movie? What if Will Smith is in the movie? What if this? And we spent an hour just deliberating, just having a beautiful, fun time. And then when I got married in 2015, I annoyed the crap out of my wife because dude, no joke, 6 months straight, I was looking at every little tidbit I could about Episode 7. I was just every day looking at trailers and clips and what about this and what about that, and Shelby was eventually like, shut up already. But it's like that's the beautiful thing about Star Wars, is you can deliberate and have these theories, but don't let them impede your experience, because theories are fun, but theories aren't your film. Theories are fan theories. They're not the actual movie, so enjoy the movie. But yeah, I'm honestly, just more Star Wars, I'll always be down for it, honestly. I know that may sound weird, but I don't understand the Star Wars fatigue thing that people are getting. It's only been 3 freaking years. It's only been 3 years since this new era.
And I'll get into the defense. I can understand that, like, it was only been months since Last Jedi, and they just released a Solo movie, like Solo. So I get to be like, oh my god, really? Another one? I get that, but this boycott was still unnecessary. You could have still gone to see it and see how it turned out. Like, that doesn't excuse the fact that you have the ability to just check it out. You just don't be like, yeah, fuck it, like, I'm done. Like, 5 months after Last Jedi, fuck it. No, man, I went to see it. I kind of had my mixed feelings, as you've seen in the video.
Mm-hmm.
And people actually think this is better than The Last Jedi. I don't agree with that, but
that's hilarious.
As long as they like a Star Wars movie, more power to them. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's my point. More Star Wars, the better for me. As long as they're good movies, well made, I will be happy. But are you like just the same with the spin-off films? Are you just like me, like more Star Wars, or are you kind of getting burnt out?
I won't mind more Star Wars. The only thing I would want is for them to slow down, maybe every couple of years, because based on the financial failure of Solo, they're gonna slow down after Episode 9. So they're probably gonna do like a every couple of year release, maybe. We don't know.
But that was due to the boycott, wasn't it? Wasn't that due to the fans, or am I getting that wrong?
I mean, that's how I think. That's what I think.
Like they didn't want to see it, and final.
To be fair, it could have been advertised better though.
Oh yeah,
there wasn't
for sure.
much to be like, oh my god, I want to see a Solo movie. Yeah, but it was like, hey, it's a Solo movie. You want to watch it?
Yeah.
They're probably like, nah. But I'm like, for me, I was like, okay, I'll give it a shot. It's on Solo.
Yeah,
it's like,
same. Yeah, I didn't.
And also, the fact that we're gonna get a new trilogy that has nothing to do with the Skywalker saga. I'm curious to see how that will go. But I had a friend that was like, there's not gonna be any more Jedi in the new stuff, so it's gonna become blech. I don't know. What do you think?
Mm-hmm.
Down the road, because I'm sure that there will be some spin-offs that will involve Jedi, and at some point they might make an old Republic movie so that the fanboys can shut the hell up. What do you think the future will hold as far as Jedi go now that everyone's dead, basically? I mean, we don't know what will happen in Episode 9, but it can be safe to assume that after that there will be no Jedi.
Okay, well, I am an absolute sucker for lightsabers. They're the most beautiful things I've ever seen. So, as long as maybe there's just throwing a few lightsaber fights here and there, they don't have to be Jedi. But like, what honestly, like a personal love of mine is the lightsaber fights. So I would love to see some lightsabers, even lightsabers just hacking down stormtroopers. I would love that. But no, even if it's not any lightsabers, I will still be pro more Star Wars because it's just like what J.J. Abrams said. This is a big galaxy and a lot can happen. So there's so much they can do. There's so much they can do. My plea to the fans is don't screw this up. Like, don't be so whiny that you're going to ask for death threats to Rian Johnson or on his new trilogy or whatever. Shut up already. And I know I kind of just veered off, but good lord. To answer your question, I'm excited about the future. I'm really hoping that Episode 9 closes it in a very good way. But yeah, we'll see, I guess. I'm excited. I'm very excited, but I think that we'll see how it all goes, and we'll see how the fans react, especially the boycotters.
I'm just hoping that they don't boycott it.
Yeah.
I just really hope that they're probably going to be excited that it's not Rian Johnson this time. They're going to be like, okay, let's see what J.J. Abrams does. He'll probably stop that travesty that was Last Jedi. Like, no, okay, whatever. But it's like, I'm excited for what the future holds. Like, 9. And Solo coming out earlier was a good thing because the wait for 9 is like excessively longer. At least for me, because there's nothing Star Wars right now, like out in theaters, of course. So there's not that much to be. It gives you more space since it was in May, because you have like much longer time to anticipate Episode 9.
Yeah.
A quick question, right? Last question, like it's a small question. Are you planning on going to Star Wars Celebration this year or no?
I would love to if I had the money and if I could get off this rock known as Hawaii and go there. I would love to go to a Star Wars Celebration. I would love to, but they don't have anything like that here.
Man.
They don't. Like, I'm on the Big Island of Hawaii. I'm not even in the city. I'm in like a large town, so we don't have anything here. We don't have IMAX. We don't have Dolby. We don't have anything here.
Really?
No IMAX here. No.
Oh, that sucks. That's. I'm not saying that Hawaii is a bad place, but I'm just saying like it has to at least have that.
Yeah. No IMAX in Hawaii. They have a luxury theater in Waikoloa that they just made, but that's really, really, really expensive. So it's
that's a petition that someone should make. Build an IMAX and Adobe theater there,
Yeah, I'll
instead
build
of making
it.
petitions to shut down the Star Wars movies.
Yeah, that's a good petition to have.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much, bro. AJ, this has been an honor. Thank you so much. I'm honored to put this in my video, and I look forward to working with you more, and this has been awesome, my man.
It has.
Alright, well, thank you.
Thank you you're welcome.